Hello there, and welcome to Learn Bites, the show that delivers bite-sized pieces of wisdom so you can learn how to increase your efficiency and productivity, embrace your natural creativity, and lead with impact. I'm Samantha Garrett from Using Technology Better, and joining me on the show today is Thais Quatapa. Thais is a senior manager in the strategy and consulting division at Accenture. So let's jump in right now, meet Thais, and get this interview underway. Hello, Thais. How are you doing? Thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you very much for having me. It's a wonderful day. The sun is shining, and we're here having a chat.
Ah, beautiful. And you've got that amazing background behind you, which I've already complimented you on, which just makes me smile when I look at it. So I think we're in for a fun chat today.
Oh, I hope so.
Me too. Well, we'll see. All right. So I've already let everyone know that you are here today to talk about leadership. But before we jump into that, do you want to share a little bit about yourself, the perhaps one or two things you're passionate about in your world?
It's a dangerous thing to ask a neurodivergent. Yeah. So, okay, where do I start? I've got a workscape of about 30 years, traversing mostly technology and business functions. And I might as well address the neurodivergency. I have ASD or autism and ADHD, which creates interesting behavior patterns. So when you ask things like, what am I passionate about? Well, depends. I have hyperfixation. Although I do like, someone once termed it knowledge benders that I go on. So yes, I do tend to get fixated and dive deep into things. But that said, I also credit a lot of that neuroatypical, I should say, makeup for much of my success. So struggling to understand the way humans interact has actually made me appreciate human behavior and how to work with people. And I think that's sort of worked, in making me a better colleague, friend, and eventually a leader. So I'm currently a senior manager in the strategy and consulting division of Accenture. Most of my work is enterprise service design. So that's I work with businesses to transform and advise on technology strategies, process redesign, digital enablement. And when I'm not in the office, then look, I jokingly call it my social offset activities. Offsetting my capitalistic elements. So I put in a lot of work in my being an active mentor. So I mentor with ADP, RMIT, XI Design Academy, and I also spend a lot of time, volunteering for different organisations. And when I do spend some time on my own, then it's generally around experimental cooking, gardening, and I've been known to have the quiet social libation.
Yeah. So the experimental cooking, is that where the pickles that you were telling me about you did on the weekend come in?
Absolutely. So I'm always, going, okay, what can I do? What things have, whether it's pulling out a recipe from 1860 and going, can we modernize that? Or whether it's grabbing something and going, hey, I learned these two, food chemistry ideas. Can I use that to improve a recipe I already have?
Oh, I'm like getting this whole Heston Blumenthal sense from you. I love that. Wow, because
Yeah.
in my
But
other word, go on.
I was going to say, if you love Heston Blumenthal, then you should actually go and find his mentor and his inspiration, Hervé Dis. So THIS,
Yeah.
and he is a French food chemist. And he's the one who actually discovered a lot of the things that ended up becoming the gastro work that Blumenthal ended up doing. So he's the one who discovered that you can make a souffle at 40 degrees if you put it under 2 barometrics of pressure, because we all have that sort of equipment in the kitchen.
I mean, I do. What you don't?
Yeah.
Hang on. Wow, there you go. Well, I mean, because I'm very excited about food, as anyone that knows me well enough will tell. So we better stop this now. You and I can take that offline. Otherwise, this whole interview
Well,
will just turn into food.
I was going to say, this is going to spawn a whole new podcast.
Totally. Yeah, we can do that. Thank you for that fascinating introduction. Awesome. So good. All right. So 4 minutes, 8 questions, leadership.
Mm-hmm.
You ready to go?
No, but let's do this regardless.
But let's do it anyway. Oh, the courage. You're the first person to say no. I love it. Okay. Last time I did one, I tried my watch and it failed miserably. So I'm going to go back to the trusty phone. So let's push go. All right. First mobile phone and current phone.
Ooh, okay. So my first mobile phone was the Motorola bag phone, the 2396, I think it was the model. It was literally like a soft bag, but a briefcase phone. Had a complete standby time of about an hour. Very heavy and not worth carrying around. But these days, I've just upgraded to a OnePlus 9 Android phone. So, latest and greatest.
Love it. I love it. Android. Yes, go Android. Okay, what is the most important quality for every leader to have?
Ooh, authenticity. Don't get me wrong, it's more than that. There's, it takes into account things like integrity and accountability and empathy and humility and gratitude. But really that authenticity to improve the lives of people around you. I think people have used the term servant to leadership in the past, and it's a big thing that I believe in. But if you're not inspiring people to do things that they thought that they could do, or even if they thought they couldn't do it, but it doesn't matter if you use all of those techniques if you don't have the authenticity as you're delivering it.
Servant leadership. We're definitely coming back to that one. That's super interesting. Okay. What do you find most rewarding or challenging about being a leader?
The fact that I'm being seen as a leader. But mostly being a catalyst for growth and insight. I think whether it's at the organizational or team level, and more importantly at the individual level, being able to step back and say, yeah, I helped make that happen.
What's one thing you tell yourself when facing uncertainty?
Deep breath, deep breath, deep breath. I've learned to sort of take a step back and say, I am actually competent. I will work this out. I will continue to learn and improve, and my skills will continue to do it. And while it may cause anxiety, it's not because I'm an imposter, but it's because that's where growth occurs.
That's very, very interesting. Yeah. Okay, cool. So much to come back to. Biggest leadership lesson you've learned so far, Thais?
There's a quote from Sir Cadbury, which I use quite a lot for both when I do board advisory and when I talk to parents, which is you will always be judged by the moral superiority of those who were not involved. So there's 2 lessons of equal weight in that. So one, I won't always get it right. But if I'm authentic, honest, and practice that self-analytical introspection to sort of say, yep, what did I do? Can I improve it? Do I need to say sorry and do better next time? There's no shame in saying I got it wrong and I apologize for that. And I guess the second one, from a career level, which surprised me when I first discovered it, is when you make an effort to make your role redundant, you become more valuable to both the organization and the people around you.
Yeah, that's an excellent tip. Awesome. All right, if there's one person you could spend an hour with, who would it be and why?
Oh, there are so many, many, many people, but the Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She had a way of looking at the world and using the status quo to actually enact change. Massive feminist icon. But when everyone else was trying to fight for women's rights, for example, she went out and found those same problems for men and then fought for the men's rights to change women's rights as part of it.
Your time's up, but that's okay. All good. That's interesting. So she found another way to tackle the issue.
Correct. And so that conversation I'd love to have is, how did she analyze and choose those challenges? How did she
Yeah.
actually go, you know what, here's a thing that we can use, and by making it right for men, we fix it
Mm.
for women and
Yeah.
everyone else.
Yes, that is so fascinating. That would be an amazing conversation because that is so much of her just thinking out of the box and perhaps, going on an angle where people would have been really questioning, like, hang on a minute, like, no, that's not the way it's done. And she's
Mm,
just done it anyway. That's brilliant. I do want to slip in one last question, number 7, because I always just like to know this. Book, video, or
okay.
podcast you would recommend to others?
I'm going to not suggest a book. I'm going to suggest a challenge.
Ooh, do.
I think that, so I have a great belief in brain plasticity.
Mm-hmm.
I believe humans are the one creature that can actually grab lessons from one area and impart those same lessons on a completely different topic.
Mm-hmm.
So for that reason, I'm going to say go and find a book on a topic that you don't normally read
Right.
and expand your general knowledge. So go out and grab lessons and narratives from different areas. So, okay, so I will rethink and suggest 2 books as examples.
Yep.
So one is called Where Do Camels Belong? It's a book around.
Ooh.
I know. It's a book about the what we consider native, so native animals, native creature, fauna,
Ooh.
flora, and what does that really mean? And I
Yeah.
won't spoil some of the sub stories. It's fantastic. Um, I was going to talk about the secret life of trees, but I think after our little food discussion, the movable feast.
Ooh. Oh, cool.
It's a collection of, so Cambridge did a whole bunch of scientific papers on the history of food, like
Yeah.
DNA tests, tracking, and all that. And this author's put them all together into a novelization that talks about food, where it came from, where it moved to, how it changed cultures.
Interesting. Oh, I mean, yeah, love that. Love the challenge and just love those 2 books, the sound of it. So good.
Mm.
And now, honestly, I'm thinking about the camels and where they belong. I feel like I'm going to go have to read this because it's this question in my mind now. Where do the camels belong? Awesome. Thank you so much. That was brilliant. And there's so many bits that sparked me as we were going. Uh, Servant leadership. Have I
Yeah,
remembered that correctly? Do you want to tell me a little
correct.
bit more about servant leadership? Because you brought it up in the context of authenticity, but those 2 words really jumped out to me. Could you elaborate a bit more, Taste, on what that means to you?
Okay. So one of the interesting things is that the English language is interesting because it is a living language, but there is a problem with that, which is that we tend to synonymize words and then lose meaning of them.
Mm.
So one of those things is the synonymization of manager and leader.
Mm.
Um, so just because you're a manager doesn't necessarily mean you're a leader,
Yeah,
right?
very
Um,
true.
so the concept of servant leadership is to say, well, let's take it right back to caveman duties, right? So the leader is the alpha person who
Yeah.
has actually got a responsibility, and that responsibility is to provide,
Yeah.
right? It's
Mm.
to protect, it's to provide, it's not a status, it's a job. So the
Yeah.
concept of a servant leadership is that my job as a leader is to protect my tribe, is to look after the individuals within it. It's to ensure that the group as a whole survives and moves forward. So in a work context, what does that mean? That means not taking credit for the work of the individuals. It's
Mm.
protecting them from any barrage of, noise coming from the top if it
Yeah.
doesn't suit the process of enabling a better team or for enabling
Yeah.
better things. So as a leader, my job is actually to serve the team, not to um, you know be the Napoleon on the hill.
Yeah. And not to serve yourself either, in that whole context of the leader just wanting to rise a ladder and have success and have status, as you said. Like, it is not about
Mm,
serving yourself, it is about serving the team.
yeah,
That's a really fascinating insight, Tees. Thank you so much. That's really got me pondering about the people in my past who I would think were exceptional leaders. And as you were talking, I was like, that's it, because I felt like they were serving the team. They were there for the team. They had our backs, and that's really, really interesting. Yeah. Thank you.
Oh, you're
Brilliant.
welcome.
What a fantastic conversation. Well, I'm very grateful for your time and your wisdom today. Before we wrap up, where could people find you and connect with you if they want to learn more? Perhaps, query a few little recipes there or something. I'm just being cheeky. Where can they find you?
Yeah, absolutely. LinkedIn is usually the best way, and I have a nice, simple LinkedIn, thing, which is linkedin.com/in/Teus.
That's very simple.
Yeah, nice and easy. And more than happy for people to connect through there. And if they want to, they can reach out for mentoring or coaching advice.
Yep.
More than happy to chat to anyone, really. So,
Brilliant.
but LinkedIn is probably the easiest way to get me.
Excellent. And that lovely short handle when this video is being edited, my amazing editor, Adrian, will love you for that, because it's going to be really easy to put in the little box below your name that people are probably seeing right now. So that's awesome. So I hope people go over and connect somewhere. Yeah. Well, thank you again so much, and we will talk soon. So I will bid you farewell for now. See ya.
Lovely. Great to be.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hello again. Thank you for tuning in to that episode. That was such an enlightening conversation. Like, I loved every minute of it. And there was so much that I wanted to dig into with Tees, if only we were going beyond bite size. But really, I think that their message about servant leadership is super, super valuable, and it certainly got me thinking so much about that topic. I would really love to hear your thoughts of it, so please feel free to drop in a comment, because that's something we've never had on the show before, and it's really inspired me just to think about the leaders around me and also myself, in leadership positions and how I'm serving the team. So thank you so much to Tees for bringing that to the conversation today, and thank you, of course, for tuning in. So before you head on off, a couple of little things. If you've not already subscribed to either the Using Technology Better YouTube channel, if you're watching the YouTube version of the show, or followed it if you're listening to the podcast version, do that now. And don't forget as well, we've got our little fortnightly newsletter all about efficiency, productivity, and organization. Link below in the notes, you can sign up there. So that is it from me for today, but I will see you again soon for another bite-sized piece of the learning adventure that is life. See you then.